Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be talking about lighting and vision for our tokens. So we've picking up from our last video, we've got this scene that we've created, and we've got the image that we want to use as the background. Now we want to decide how do we want to go about dealing with token vision and revealing things to our players. So we're going to come back in here to the scene configuration window. And in this video, we're pretty much going to be dealing with lighting here. Now, in an ambience, we're not even going to bother with that. Don't even worry about it. We don't even need to worry about that tab. There's, there's some stuff in there, but it's more advanced. And for the purposes that we use our games, we're probably not going to need it. So let's take a look at the lighting tab here. Go over them. So token vision. What this means here is that what this part means here is that we're gonna, if we have it checked, we're restricting the visibility to the token vision settings. Okay, so if we disable it, the entire scene is going to be visible. So if we have a map that is like a world map or a town map or something, we want to disable that. Or if you just want to say, you know what, as a DM, I don't care if my players know this. I trust them to use theater of the mind. And if they see it, they see it. I don't care. You can uncheck that and it's going to reveal the whole map to them. Otherwise, if it's checked, we're basically going to come back here to like the settings. Let me zoom in here real quick so we can see what I'm doing. So if I right click on this token and go to settings and the token properties, so both the vision and the light of this is what we're depending on. First vision has to have has vision and what their vision is. Sight limit, vision radius, also light. So here as a as a Goliath, I don't have dim vision, dark vision. So dim lighting, if I did have dark vision, this would be 60 and in some cases 90, but it's 0. Okay. Bright doesn't matter. Same thing. Now, when most of our characters we're going to be using are going to be imported from D&D Beyond. So all this stuff should be set up perfectly for us from D&D Beyond settings. Light vision is a little bit different if we have a torch lit or not. That's, we're going to be emitting light versus just what we can see versus what we are emitting, right? So if I'm holding a torch, it's going to be 40/20. And we're just, because I don't have dark vision, we're going to have this set up to where this character is holding a torch. So if we have this checked, that's going to have it to where like now when I click this, it has that vision. If I uncheck this, that doesn't matter. The whole map is revealed to us. Okay, so we're going to check that. Fog exploration. What that means is basically if I have this guy selected here, let's hit save again. So you can kind of see now, since I moved my character up, this area here that's dark, I've explored this area and revealed it. So it's going to save it. If I uncheck that and hit save, and then now I click this guy, I have to reset the fog, actually. You do that by clicking on this light and then clicking on this cloud. And we'll go more into that a little bit later. But when I'm now pretend we came on here now, if I come up here and I reveal the map, the area that I was down here, I can't see it anymore. So there's no fog of war. There's no saving what I've revealed in in the grayscale. What this is useful for example, say you have a maze and you kind of want to give that ambience of the players don't know that they've been down this corridor before. It looks familiar. Is it just a copy of the corridor, or is it a different one? Or say like darkness, the dark and twists and turns are part of the ambience that you want to set. I would turn that off to kind of give that, you know, we don't know where we are, we're a little bit more lost type feature. By default, we'll go ahead and leave it on because in most maps, we can know where we're at. Reveal fog of war means it's revealed even if fog exploration is disabled. Revealing the fog doesn't explore the scene automatically. So if we click on that, so let's turn this off here and just do this. And then we're going to go to our player login. This is me logged in just as the player. So I can see what it looks like. So I've got Fog of War on. I can see where I've been. If I come back down here, it's still explored, but I need to have that light on. If I turn my torch off, it's all dark, right? So come back here and let's set reveal fog. Now this turns everything on. I hit save. See what that looks like for the player. So again, it's going to reveal the whole map and reveal the fog. So we don't want to do that. This could be helpful to be like if you were just like I just want them to know what's there, or they know what the map is, but they can only see what they see. It's kind of a redundant setting. I always just uncheck that. Now, unrestricted vision range, this is something we were dealing with earlier today, means that it's going to allow tokens to see any area that they have direct line of sight to observe. Otherwise, vision is limited to areas which are illuminated with or within a token's vision radius. So if we turn it on, it'd be like if it's an outdoor map. So if it's not checked, we have to rely on our torches. In this mine, we're not going to have unrestricted vision. But let's take a look at the map that we were on earlier today with, that we were having problems with. So take a look at the settings here. I went in and took a look at these and kind of fixed them. So if we have these two checked because we want token vision, we want fog exploration, but we want unrestricted vision range, which means only the walls that we have, we have all these walls set up here, and only these walls are going to block our vision. But we want unrestricted vision range otherwise, so we don't need to have lights because it's daytime or there's enough light source. So I'm gonna hit save, and now let's activate this scene. So when I come down here and come here, so this is what that would look like. I don't have to see, like if I can't see it because the walls are blocking it, then I can't see it. But other than that, this is pretty much, I think, the setting that Cam wanted, so we didn't have to rely on torches. If I come into our room here, it's unrestricted. Now we have these other problems with the walls, and we'll go over that later. So that is how we want to configure that scene here, is this unrestricted vision range. In this mine, we don't want that set up. Well, let me pull up this one here, because in the mine, this is underground, it's dark, we want light sources, so we're not going to check it. The other thing we want to do is sight limits. Now, if unrestricted vision is on, and if we set a limit, it's not going to matter. So, but the sight limit, this comes in handy. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a creature in here that would, even if you had lights, would dim your lights to 15 feet. So no matter, even if you have torches, if you have gems, if you have dark vision or whatever, it's going to limit. So if I say 15 feet and I hit save, this guy is limited to 15 feet. You see, 5, 10, 15. Even though my torch should extend way more than 15 feet, I'm only seeing 15 feet. If I say 5 feet, it's going to be 5 feet. So it doesn't matter what vision. So like if there's a magical effect or a magical darkness that's dampening things, it's going to reduce that no matter what the vision or dark vision or whatever. So I'm going to delete that and leave that unlimited, which just means that's relying on my torch. So the next thing we want to do is daylight color, darkness color. These pretty much are going to be the defaults. If you wanted to have a red tint or say a green tint to the entire map, you could, turn this green. It's going to have a green tint to the light. I have a light source right now. So other than that, it's tinting it, but my light source is overriding that. But for the most part, we want to just leave that as white or whatever the default was to begin with. And then darkness is, dark. This darkness level is going to dictate how bright it is. If you remember our overview of the interface when we come in here and lighting, if we go to like daytime, if we click this nighttime, it's going to make this, it's going to transition, it's going to turn it all the way up to 1. It's going to be dark, like pitch black. That means it's going to rely on light. Typically, unless you're using a outside map, like if we were at this house map and we wanted to be like, okay, this is during the day. Later, we wanted to come back to this place, but it's nighttime, so everything's going to be dark. You can click this or turn the darkness up, this darkness level up on this scene here. Turn it all the way up to 1. It's going to be dark, so we have to rely on these light sources, either our torches or if there's a candle or something like that. That's what that would be here. So configure. Most maps, we're just going to leave it the way it is because we're going to decide, do we want to, have unrestricted range or not. Saturation level, it says desaturate the areas in monochrome vision if disabled. The saturation is linked to the darkness level. I don't ever really touch that, so I don't know. Vision limitation threshold as well. I don't really check that as well. But what this basically means is it disables your, say I have unrestricted vision checked. But if it gets darker than this, it's going to turn that off, right? So we'll say save. So let's select this token here. And so I have unrestricted vision on, so I can see everything. But if I turn, oh, I didn't set that right. So set that to 07, configure. Oh, I have to check this, that's why, okay. You have to check that, otherwise it won't save it apparently. So say, if I put it here, still has unrestricted range, like the closer I get to it, then it goes away. So that's just kind of like that limit. I, again, don't really use this. So on the lighting tab, that's the main things we want to worry about is these first 4 here in sight limit. These other things we can play with, but the majority of our thing is this. So going forward, we have 2 options for lighting and vision and how we want to control that in the map. The first one is how Cam set it up here with our walls, with, drawing walls and using token light sources. I think I set this back to nighttime. Let me set it back to daytime. So, we still have our tokens and our vision settings and the walls that are blocking our vision light. That's option 1. The pros to this is that it's very dynamic feeling, and as we move around, the lighting automatically updates. The DM doesn't have to change anything in order to reveal the map. If I come up here and I open this door, it opens up the room and it reveals the light, and I can step into it. So, and the DM, he's not even logged in, and the player could do this, right? So that's the benefit to that. The downside to that is that it takes time. I have to go in and set up, oops, I have to set up all these lines. As the DM, I have to go in and set up all these lines. Also, as we noticed, there's a lot of little holes in this map, and that's because if we look at these here, they're not touching. So if you don't set them up to touch and you don't set them up to like overlap, like just right, you're going to have some flaws in the vision, and it could end up revealing the rooms when you don't want it to, stuff like that. Um, the other downside to this is that it is a little bit more memory intensive for the players who are running it, as they're moving their tokens and everything and revealing the lights. It does take a little bit more computing power. Most of the for the most part, it's not enough to really be noticeable. Even on somewhat slower systems, it's not going to be a big deal. Now, the second option, let's go back to the mine here. The second option we can set up real quick is simple fog. Using the simple fog that we kind of talked about in our overview. We'll turn it on here. I'm going to go into settings. I have this set for green. I want to set it for red a bit. And I want to save these as default. So, and then turn it up. So simple fog is basically a quick and easy way. Now, when I enable this, pretty much if I come back over here as the player, I can't see anything. Doesn't matter if I have my torch lit or not, I can't see anything because nothing is revealed. As the DM, I can come in here and quickly reveal this area here. Say, like you see a lane up here, and you see a thing up there. Now, if I go back to the player screen, that's been revealed. I think. So, the advantages to simple fog here is that it takes less time to set up. All I have to do is literally turn it on before the scene, maybe reveal the starting area for the players, and that's it. The downside to it is that while I'm running the game, if this player moves up here, I've got to continuously be revealing areas. I've got to continuously be revealing the map. So what we want to do if we want to use this setting is the first thing we want to do is come in here and we want to turn off token vision. We could leave it on, but it's actually still kind of a pain because as you can see, if we come over here, let's reveal an area real quick again. I'll reveal this, right? So if I come over here to this, player screen, since token vision is still enabled, I have to have my torch. If I don't have my torch, it's not revealing anything. So I have to have my torch or dark vision, and it still moves with me. The downside to that is even if I move up this way, it's still going to light up through that. This is not going to stop. This black stuff here is not going to stop my light. So ideally, we want to just turn this off and say save. Now that is just going to, if it's revealed, it's revealed, and that's what it is. So now you can just reveal the map, and there's a few different ways to go over it that I went over. You can do it by square. You can do it by drawing the area that you want to reveal, and you can, click around. This is a little more time consuming and everything, but you have a little more control over it. And then when you're done, you just click the orange square and it reveals that. You can paintbrush like we were showing before. You can do a square, which is usually pretty easy as long as everything lines up a square. Like this hallway would be kind of hard to do square because it's not going to line up. If you don't really care, you can just do that. Otherwise, you do the paintbrush. You can do circles, and you can do these squares here. So when the paint, like here, the paintbrush would probably be the easiest way to do it. So that's pretty easy, except for the fact, like I said before, you have to, like, as the DM, you're going to be on this screen for a big part of the time. And then, anytime they reveal it, you have to switch back and forth. So maybe you have to come back here to move your tokens if you're got enemies to combat. The other downside to this that I forgot earlier is, say you accidentally, you're on the screen and you're trying to reveal. I'm gonna say hide for this. You're trying to reveal a little bit of an area. I'm just trying to reveal this, and like my mouse, or like you're using a laptop and your thumb pad slips and you're like, oops, it instantly reveals that whole area. Now you can hit Control Z and undo it, and if you're quick, it'll work. But if not, the players can see it. So that's a little bit of a downside. So that's option A. That's the easier setup, harder to run option. Option B is we're gonna check token vision back on, and we're gonna set up our walls. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna turn this off. Actually, one thing I want to do in here is delete this because it will still be uh, there. Like, it still takes up data if you play around with that. So the second one is we're going to be using these two tools here, the walls tool and the lighting tool, to set up walls and any other kind of independent light sources that we want. So how we were going to do this is, I'm going to show you the easy way that I do it that we were talking about tonight. We're going to mainly click on this draw walls, this first one here, and I'm going to pick a point that I want to start at, and I'm just going to start drawing my walls. Now the first thing I'm going to do is holding shift down, like let's zoom in real good here so we can see the corner of these things. If I don't hold shift and I just start drawing a wall, I'm going to do a little bit off to the side, click and draw, and it's, even though I don't have snap to grid on, it's still snapped a little bit. You got to be kind of far away for it to not snap. If you're kind of close, oops, I'm going to do that. If I'm kind of close, it will snap anyways. So to fix that, I'm going to hold down shift. So let's do this in steps. Step 1, hold down shift. Step 2, start to draw your wall. While you still have it clicked, step 3 is hold down control. Now I'm going to draw this wall. I can zoom out. Let me delete that, start over. So hold down shift, draw the wall, hold down control, and then that way, now I'm holding down both shift and control at this point. Now when I click, it still lets me draw another wall, and it's automatically perfectly joined to this wall, right? It's automatically joined to this wall, and I'm just going to keep clicking and go all the way around all of these points. Okay, and I'm just going to cut this off a little bit short here. I'm going to go here, here. I'm going to pretend that there's a door in this hallway, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to draw across the door and click again, and then, maybe there's a door here as well. Click here. I'm not going to do the whole map for this video. So I'm just clicking everything. If there's a door or a window, say there was a window here, I'd click and click. And I'm still holding down shift and control. Now here is where we had some problems probably with Cam had some problems. I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to go down. So now we're done. We want to join it to this wall. We can't just let it sit near it. We want to hover over until that, you see how that pops a little bit bigger? try to get it right in the center and click again. And then let go of shift and control, and then you'll still have this little one. You right click and that gets away with it. So now let's take a look as the player. We click on him, and if we move around, it doesn't have any holes. So now, like, once I've drawn my walls, what I want to do is pick a player with a light source, put them on the map, and just explore the map, and kind of look for those vision breaks, and you can see that there is none. Sometimes right when you join one, there will be, and I'll simulate it. Now the next thing we want to do is come back over here to our walls. This was a door, right? So we want to like select that line, right? Double click on it, and then we want to say, is a door? Yep, it's a door. And then say update wall. Now it's a door. If you want it to be a secret door, you can say secret and update it, and then we'll turn a purple for secret door. So we'll say that's a door, update wall, that's a door, maybe that's a door, update wall. Remember this here, down here was a window. We want to click this one for Windows. Windows, they don't have light restrictions, so we'll say none, and they don't have sight restrictions, so we'll say none. They probably restrict sound if you want to turn those on, wall directional. So those two are with them. That'll be a window. We'll see through it and everything, but we won't hear through it. So now we come back up here, select this token, and so now we see we have the doors. And if I click on it, it reveals beyond that door. If I close it, and then if I come down here, that's the window that I can see through the window, but you notice it doesn't let me see through that wall back there again. So that's basically walls in a nutshell. It just takes a little bit of time to drawing them, so that the setup is a little bit more, and that I just did a little bit of that one. And this map is pretty easy because it doesn't really have doors. But let's say on this one, when we oops, I don't want to draw a new one. I want to move this one. So let's say on this one, I didn't quite close it off. They're just like that. If I select my token and drag them over here, there's going to be a little bit of bleed through, right? So when you're testing your light and you see that bleed through, what you can do is come back to walls. Oh, okay, they're not joined. Join them, like click one, hold down shift as you start moving it, hold down shift, and then make sure that pops up big and click on it. And sometimes I've had a problem where it just has to be just right, so it doesn't quite do it. What I would do is just take another wall and draw a line like that. Especially if there's no rooms on the other side, you can do that. You can make it smaller if you want to, as long as it's going through here. And let's take a look and see how that looks. So yeah, there's no light bleeding through and I can't see anything. Now we have our wall set up. We want to work on our light sources here. These are, like say there was torches. Like if we have this house here, the house map, I saw there was some torches and stuff here. So we could set like a light here and a light here. And you'll see that that's the maximum. So like half of that's going to be dim, half that's going to be bright. And it will set that up. So now if I come in here, those light sources will be on there, even if it was dark. Let's go back into this map. So say I had a light source. Let's look at the walls. Say I had a light source down in this. Say someone was in there and they dropped a lantern and it had a light source. So I'm just going to drag it out there, right? Now if I click on my guy again, he's going to, be able to see that light source coming down there. Let's turn off his torch. Oh, you know what I have here? configure. I'm going to turn off unrestricted vision range because that's not what it is, right? So save changes. So now if I select him, I'm also going to reset the fog because we come in here. He can't see anything, but he can see that light source down there. I'm gonna light my own torch. My own torch only goes to here, but that light source that's coming from that tunnel is there, and then it can light it up. So that's what you would do with those light sources. You can also double click on this here, and it will bring up the light source window, and you can change the color. You can change the radius. So if you want it to say it's a torch and it's going to emit 40 feet and 20 feet, you can set that. If you only want it to set 10 feet and 5 feet, you can set that. That's pretty much the only thing I would change is the radius manually. And the other thing I would change is the color. So say we wanted it to, maybe it was a lantern, but it's splattered with blood, and so it's emitting a reddish light, right? And so now that's red. One thing I would probably recommend if you're going to change the color is to lower the intensity a little bit. Sometimes if you turn the intensity too much, it tends to like cover up some of the details on the map. And also if you have like a token in there, it kind of tints that token as well, the more intense it is. So like usually about 0.2, 0.2 is a good source. Um, the other cool thing that you could do is this darkness activation range. So, it will only turn on if the darkness, and that's really good for outside. Like you say you have like a city street and you have street lamps and you have the light sources turned up. You can say, I only want it to turn on if it's between 0.7 and 1. So the darkness, until it gets dark, like to 0.7, those street lamps don't come on. By default, it's 0, 1 because it's always on. And that's basically all you need to know about the lighting. Over here in light animations, I wouldn't mess with these. You can set some cool animations, different kinds of like effects that it will have. But the thing that's bad about this, I'm gonna turn that intensity up so we can see what they look like. They're actually pretty cool and everything. Different pulses, lighter, different chroma pulsing waves that has like cool effects, but this will cause performance issues on people with slower computers. So I wouldn't come in here, and also the advanced options. There's not really, we don't really need to mess with these 99% of the time. The last thing about the lights is, say you have a light here, say we have this red light here. If I want to turn it off as the DM, I come onto this lighting thing and I right click on it and it turns it off. So say it's activated by something, right? So, my players come up here, and once he gets to this point here, suddenly this light turns on, and my player sees like that player will see, or that character will see, suddenly red light starts coming out of that room, type of thing. You could do that, or turn it off and on based on different things in the game. Over here, once you are done, once you are done setting up the lights and the walls, and you've tested all the lighting and the walls out, what I would do then is come to this lighting here and click on this reset fog of war. This will reset everything. So that way, because if you had, like drawn out all the walls in here and used this token for who is another player to test it out for you, when they log in, everything's going to be revealed to them. So this resets it back to the base setting. So when they come back in, all they can see is that screen. So let's take a configure. We want to uncheck that and save it. So that's all they'll see. Alrighty, so that should be it for the lighting and vision in a nutshell.